Yo, guys, it's your boy Bernard. Welcome to another episode of the Angry Blurred podcast where I'm annoyed and frustrated. Mainly just because of personal issues. Couldn't record this episode at my usual time because I had a few appliances installed, got a new stove, microwave. Then they came back and was like, oh shit, we forgot to install your dishwasher. And so that was like on the cusp of my recording time because I usually record around 4 p.m. Then they get ready to leave. I get a text message from Xfinity saying, hey, there's an outage in your area and it'll be up there like 6 o'clock. So here I am. Just fucked up my whole day. Anyway, let's just go ahead and get into the stories. I have to give a rest in peace to Chuck Russell. So Chuck Russell was a director. He passed away on the 22nd. He directed several movies that we may know. Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors is the first movie I saw that he directed. I believe Dream Warriors is the one with Lawrence Fishburne, and it is. I just looked it up. All right, so he also directed, a movie that we all love if you're a millennial. It's like one of Jim Carrey's top 10 movies, The Mask. He also directed a race with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He also directed The Scorpion King, so The Rock's first starring movie, but technically it's his third overall movie. And I know people are thinking, what do you mean third? It's his second because The Rock was in The Mummy Returns and The Scorpion King. That's neither here nor there, but The Rock did a little movie done by Lou Pearlman called Long Shot. It basically had a bunch of pop stars in it from like the 90s. So like NSYNC was in it, Britney Spears, I believe 98 Degrees, the Backstreet Boys, blah, 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 blah. He also did I Am Raph with John Travolta, which is it's a very, it's not really a good movie, but he also did Paradise City. So that was his second movie with John Travolta. Bruce Willis was also in that. And his last movie came out in 2024 called Witchboard, which was a remake of the 1986 movie. Has nobody Jamie Campbell Bower's in this. Okay, I might have to see if I can find where this is streaming. But I didn't know anything about this movie. Yeah, if you don't remember Jamie Campbell Bower, he's Vecna in Stranger Things. Oh, he also directed an episode of Fringe. But yeah, no cause of death was given. All we know is that he died in his home in San Diego. Jim Carrey actually made a post about him. So he said, I consider it a privilege to have worked with Chuck Russell, who during the shooting of The Mask created an ebullient, childlike atmosphere and wonder and camaraderie on his set. The entire cast and crew were touched and inspired by his playfulness. Every one of us has many years blessed by that buoyant and timeless moment. I consider The Mask one of the jewels of my creative life. Thank you, Chuck. So yeah, he is the only person who I've seen post something. But yeah, I mean, The Mask is quite possibly the movie that everyone will remember him for doing. Like, Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors is okay, but he also did The Blob, which was a movie that came out in 88. It's got a very big cult following. So yeah. Oh, snap, Robert Axelrod's in this? He was the voice of Lord Zed, but yeah, so, check out a Chuck Russell movie if you have the time to. I also have to give a rest in peace to Kaylee Hottle, or I hope I'm saying her last name right, but she passed away a few days ago from a car accident, and she actually was just getting her film career started. Her first film was actually Godzilla versus Kong, which I think I saw Godzilla versus Kong. I can't remember which one of those I saw. I'm pretty sure it was Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah, because that's the one that came out during the pandemic. And she was also in Godzilla versus Kong, the New Empire. Yeah, she played Gia. But yeah, she was in a car accident in Maryland on the 21st. But yeah, unfortunately, You know, it's, that just sucks. 18, yo. But Legendary actually made a post about her passing. Legendary is the studio that has the U.S. rights to Godzilla. So they said, we are devastated by the tragic passing of Kaylee Hottle. Through her unforgettable portrayal of Gia, Kaylee brought an extraordinary heart, humanity, and light to Godzilla, Kong, and the Monsterverse. She was a cherished member of our family. She was a cherished member of our film family, and her kindness, warmth, and remarkable talent touched everyone fortunate enough to work alongside her. Our hearts are with her family, friends, and all who knew her during this unimaginably difficult time. Rest in peace, Kaylee. So yeah, I mean, like I said, 18 is honest. It's just too young to be passing, and she wasn't even a driver. She was a passenger. But if you are a fan of the Monsterverse, start at the beginning. Start with 2014's Godzilla and Kong Skull Island, and just watch all those movies. But yeah, she only had those two movies and an episode of Magnum PI on her filmography. So yeah, rest in peace to Chuck Russell and Kylie Hottle. I don't mean to go grim at the beginning of the episode, but these things happen. All right. Netflix. The live action Gundam movie that they were working on is officially, done with production. So I don't really know how I feel about it. I'm just gonna have to wait to see a trailer or something. It's like I don't even really rock Netflix like that. But yeah, all I know is it stars Sydney Sweeney and Noah Centineo. But yeah, they didn't post anything. This is just from what's on Netflix, saying that they wrapped up filming, and I really hope it's good. But I gotta see what's going on with the Gundam movie. I've never been a fan of Gundam. It was just one of those animes that I was out of the demographic for it, and I like mech stuff, i.e. Power Rangers and whatnot, but it is what it is. It'll probably be out this time next year on Netflix. All right, my next story is in regards to a franchise that I love, even the 2014-15 reboot. I don't love it, but I enjoy it. Robocop is officially coming back. So, James Wan is going to be working on this with Peter Oko. I believe James Wan said, I've been a massive fan of Robocop forever, so getting to bring this world to television is a dream. What Paul Verhoeven created in 1987 was decades ahead of his time, and its questions about technology, identity, and who corporations really serve have grown more urgent. With Peter's distinctive vision and bold approach to storytelling, alongside Ed Newmiller, who was the co-writer and co-creator of the original Robocop movie, and our partners at Amazon MGM, we are working to honor what made the original iconic and highlight its relevancy in this modern tech-driven world while building something unmistakably new for a global audience. So I'm very excited about that. The only thing I think I've ever liked that James Wan has done is, despite the fact that I was very against it, was Aquaman. Not the second one, but the first one. He mainly does The Conjuring. Not really a fan of supernatural horror stuff like that. He's also a part of the Saw universe. I don't know if he he did direct the first one. Yeah, I'm looking at his filmography right now. But yeah, he mainly does horror stuff. And even then, he didn't even he produced the Mortal Kombat movies in Megan. But yeah, so I will check this out. If you don't know, Robocop is about a police officer by the name of Alex Murphy who gets transferred to Detroit and basically dies on his first day on the job in the original. And the company that finances the cops, OCP, take his corpse and basically turn him into a cyborg and wipe his memories until, his partner, helps him remember who he was. And the 2014 reboot with Joel Kinnaman is basically the same thing. The only difference is instead of getting like shot up like 58,000 times, it's a car bomb, and they let him keep a human hand. But yeah, I've always been a fan of Robocop. I think I talked about this when it was rumored a few months ago, and I brought up the Robocop Alpha Commando series that used to come on when I was in elementary school, middle school, or whatever. All right. But yeah, shut up, Loco, about the coconut. Anyway, that's it for that. What is my next story? My next story is in regards to, slice of life comic book filled with shenanigans that are usually, with a bunch of people that no one really cares about, but the franchise is still thriving after a live action show that was on the CW for 7-8 years until it started to jump the shark when everybody got powers and time travel was involved in parallel universes. Archie is getting another series, and this is going to be on Disney Plus. So I didn't really read any of the Archie stuff outside of when Mark Waid wrote Archie. I want to say in like 2015, 2016, where it was basically kind of like Riverdale. It was just modernized Archie as opposed to, Archie, everybody wearing the vests, the sweater vests with their first letter initials on the front of them. But this is Afterlife with Archie. So Afterlife with Archie is basically a horror version of Archie, which deals with almost everybody in Riverdale being turned into zombies. So yeah, there's a lot of like supernatural stuff that they've done with Archie over the years. Like they have a Vampironica where Veronica is a vampire, and Jughead the Hunger where Jughead is a werewolf. So yeah, I never read any of it, but it sounds like a good trope to do into the Archie universe. Like, because Archie's always got some weird stuff going on. Like Archie has met the Punisher. I think there's an Archie Terminator comic coming out. I feel like Archie has met Ash from Evil Dead as well. But yeah, there's a lot of like things that they do to try to keep Archie relevant. But yeah, the Archie horror stuff, I've heard good things. Like I said, I've just never gotten into it. Need to dim this light a little bit, but yeah, it's too bright. But I really hope it's good. And like I said, it's going to be on Disney Plus, and apparently Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa, who was the showrunner on Riverdale, and Greg Berlanti will be teaming up again to do this stuff. And I believe Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa wrote Afterlife with Archie, but he is also the creator of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which was obviously adapted by Netflix. Did I watch the whole first season, or did I just watch some of the first season? I don't remember, but I know I was nitpicking. I'm like, why is this not connected with Archie? But eventually Kierna Shipka did make her appearance on Archie in like one of like either the last season or the season before last. I can't remember. But yeah, so hope it's good. My next story is in regards to Marvel. I know there's a lot going on at the moment because SDCC is going on, but as you guys know, whenever SDCC and NYCC happens, I usually talk about it the week after, so I don't give you like a day and a half of news one week and then the other half later, so I will be covering all that stuff next week. But this was before SDCC. Josh Horowitz from the Happy Sad Confused podcast was doing a press junket, I guess, because this was like right before the Doomsday trailer dropped, and Kevin Feige admitted to basically feeling like a failure when it came to Blade. And I'm just like, I guess this is never going to happen, because even the font designer for Blade was like RIP Blade. So at this point, I don't know how you're gonna keep Mahershala in, because he did sign a contract and he did do some voiceover work for Eternals. So I don't know, like, what are we gonna do with Mahershala? I always think it's weird to be double dipping as far as like hiring actors to do the same. To be a part of the universe. Yeah, even though the Netflix stuff technically wasn't a part of the MCU, it acknowledged the MCU on several occasions. Like in the first episode of Daredevil, they referenced the Battle for New York. And there's like references throughout the entire Netflix series runs in like Daredevil, Defenders, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones. I don't think they made any references in The Punisher, but clearly those characters have been retconned into the MCU, unlike Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which has had MCU actors on. But that's neither here nor there. But like I said, double dipping, like bringing an actor from like there and bringing them to play somebody else, it's always kind of like a weird toss up. Like, I really do need to see how they're going to do this Robert Downey Jr. as Doom type situation. But the Doomsday trailer did drop. I'm not going to lie. Scoopers ruined the trailer for me, in all honesty. And this is why I hate when people report on things that Scoopers talk about, because I won't talk to you guys about it just because I don't know if it's true or not. But like, I knew about the Gambit and Shang-Chi fight and some of the other things that were in there. And Robert Downey Jr. sounds amazing as Doom, but I'm really just gonna have to see the movie. And I really do my best to try to avoid seeing things posted by Scoopers. Like, I will block the Scoopers name on Twitter. I've blocked Scoopers specifically on Twitter so they don't even come up on my For You feed. But in all honesty, I did not feel any type of sense of excitement for this Doomsday trailer. But the Clayface trailer, though, we cooking. And I really can't wait to see that. But also, once again, Peter Safran, head of DC Studios, confirmed that the Clayface in this movie is the same Clayface from Creature Commandos, even though James Gunn said that, 3 years ago at this point, whenever Creature Commandos came out. So yeah, I don't think we're getting Blade. Simple as that. Wesley Snipes said it best. There's only one Blade. There's only going to ever be one Blade. But yeah, I'm going to take a break. Here's the W ad, and I will be right back. This episode is brought to you by Dubby. Dubby gives you focus and energy without the crash and jitters. It has no sugar, fillers, or artificial dyes. Mix one packet or scoop into 8 or 12 ounces of water. Stir or shake well. Some powderiness is normal, and it has all the important vitamins. So this has vitamin C, B3, B6, and B12. And it's made from coffee fruit extract. So drink it and go conquer a task. And go to Dubby.gg and use my promo code AngryBlurred10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. That's Dubby.gg with promo code AngryBlurred10. Sorry if you guys hear my little fan, but my AC is also acting stupid. I'm just over today, really. Nintendo, as I told you guys, Switch 2 prices are going up September 1st, so you got one more month to buy them before yesterday's price is not today's price. But Nintendo said, hey guys, you can go fuck yourselves. So as we know, Trump implemented his tariffs on, all things that are imported to the US. And Nintendo has been hit with a class action lawsuit since Trump and the current administration basically said that they're going to offset the tariff costs to people. And they're trying to get a class action suit against Nintendo because they don't want to lower the price on stuff. So Nintendo says it has no legal obligation to pass UF tariff refunds onto its gamers. And they also asked the court to dismiss the class action lawsuit. And they also said that consumers received exactly what they bargained and paid for. Last I checked, there was no bargaining involved. It's not like we were like, hey, Nintendo, you give us, $50 off on this, we'll guarantee that we get, Nintendo Switch Online. None of that happened. There was no bargaining whatsoever. But yeah. So, like I said, I'm glad I didn't get a Switch 2. The funny thing? I can't even make this up. Like, before I even saw this story, I was literally considering, getting a Switch 2. Don't know why. I barely touch my Switch 1 as it is. But I was legit gonna, post my OLED online with all the accessories, so the 4 Joy-Cons, the 3 GameCube controllers, the Pro controller, because I don't think you can use a Pro 1 controller on a Switch 2. And the two carrying, well, the carrying case, the backpack, which I might keep. But yeah, so I don't know. I might still consider that, probably letting it go for like a good like $250 or whatever. But I don't know. But yeah, so no discounts on the Switch coming anytime soon. Maybe like during Black Friday, and that's about it. But yeah, Nintendo's like, nah, y'all suffer. All right. This is in regards to Halloween Horror Nights. And I keep saying every year, I'm going to go. But I never go because Halloween Horror Nights is unlike Universal Studios. I feel like events like this, you need people to go with. And I just never feel like asking anybody, hey, let's all go to Halloween Horror Nights or whatever. But Evil Dead Burn will have a maze at Hollywood Horror Nights in both Hollywood and Orlando. Did I say Hollywood Horror Nights? Halloween Horror Nights. So yeah, so this alongside the Center's haunted house, I'm more compelled to go than I've gone in a good minute. So who knows? I might just screw around and ask some friends or something like, hey, y'all want to go? And we'll get an Airbnb or a hotel or something and, call it a day or what? I don't know yet. I'm also considering getting a new annual pass for Universal, but I don't know about that just yet. All right, my next story is in regards to season 3 of Percy Jackson. As I told you guys that it will be dropping sometime this year. We finally have a release date, and that will be November 20th. So don't know much of anything about what's going to happen, but I honestly can't wait. And, I think Disney is realizing, hey, these kids are growing up. We can't hold this off like every 2 years or something like that. So if they need to do anything, I get it. It's a show about mythical sea creatures and whatnot. Kind of cut back on the CG a little bit. Maybe try to go a little practical. I don't know. I mean, we saw Nolan do it with the Odyssey, which I will be reviewing despite the fact that I said I wasn't going to see it. And I'll get into that when I do my review. But yeah, November 20th for season 3 of Percy Jackson. All right. Last story before I get into my reviews, because like I said, everything is being held up by SDCC. Batman Knightfall. We actually have the release date for part 1 as far as the physical goes in the digital, actually. So digital will be on August 25th. Physical Blu-ray, 4K, and DVD will be September 8th. All right, and some of the special features, one will be called Breaking the Bat. It says Adapting the Knightfall. Go behind the scenes with the long-awaited animated adaptation, as well as the filmmakers revealed their process for breaking down the epic story, designing and animating the action, and breathing life into one of the darkest sagas in the Dark Knight's history. And Batman Needs a Robin. I believe this is where Tim actually became Robin, or just before this. I never read Knightfall. It predates my comic reading, even though I want every now and then go and visit things from before I got into it. So it says many incarnations of Robin help Batman fight his war on crime. The filmmakers reveal the vital role Robin plays in the Batman mythology, with an emphasis on Tim Drake in the iconic Batman Knightfall series in the animated adaptation. So here's the one question that I am seeing asked, and I also have the same question. Will this be released as a box set or a complete edition in the near future? So DC rarely does that, and that's the thing that makes me mad, because then I'll be like, I might get this, but I don't want to have two Blu-rays taking up the space on my shelf when they could just put two in a box set. Let me actually look this up, because the only one I know that did it was Batman The Dark Knight Rises. And I am looking on Amazon right now for The Long Halloween. So yeah, they actually did release a deluxe edition of The Long Halloween, because that was originally 2 movies. Unfortunately, it does not have a digital copy with it. So I will not be buying it, despite the fact that it's only $26. So that's the thing I'm always on the fence about. It's like, are we going to get a collection of both movies or not? Or like, I don't even think they did it for Crisis on Infinite Earths. I'm going to look that one up as well, because that was a 3-part movie. Yeah, it looks like they just still kept that as individual. No, they did apparently in the UK. So in France. So I'm looking at a. Oh wait, no, that's just part 3. I thought I said parts 1 through 3. So France got a trilogy collection. Unfortunately, we did not get that in America. So yeah, that's the only issue with these DC animated movies. So I might just have to cave in and just go ahead and buy them in individual sets. All right, what am I going to talk about next? I know one thing. I'm going to cue up this spoiler alert, and I am actually going to talk about My Adventures with Superman. It's season 3, episode 6, which is titled Party Animals. So we pick up about a month after, Hank Henshaw basically went suicidal, and, Clark is still depowered. So Lois, Clark, Jimmy, and Kara attend the 10th annual Metropolis Humanitarian Gala, hosted by a Silver State Cloud, which actually gets Superman gets a nomination. Kara and Jimmy are also nominated with Lois, but Clark is not going to show up as Superman due to the fact that he doesn't have his powers. Jimmy actually brings a date, Princess Marina Maru, which then in turn makes Kara jealous. That was funny, by the way. Vicky Vale also shows up to the gala, and she challenges Lois to find the best story. Bizarro actually shows up, so I hope to see Superman. But there's the news kids who we've seen sporadically throughout all the seasons actually come across some armed goons ready to attack the event. Clark ends up looking for them. He ends up getting shot. Jimmy's date actually shows up and reveals herself to be Dr. Poison, which basically turns everyone except Clark and Nakara into talking animals. Kara actually captures Dr. Poison, but then, she does the villain monologue thing, but she reveals that I'm going to poison the entire city's water supply. So she flies off to stop the goons at the dam. Meanwhile, Bizarro finishes off the goons as well. Jimmy actually tricks Dr. Poison into letting her guard down so he can take off her mask, and she gets turned into an animal. And after that, Lois actually gets the award, and Jimmy apologizes to Kara, and Clark basically has a crash out about not having his powers, and then they get pulled through a portal, which next week's episode will be dealing with Mixopidalic. So yeah, there's that. I'm thoroughly enjoying this season, but I need Clark to get it together. All right, X-Men 97, season 2, episode 6, Danger.exe. Professor X is using the Danger Room as therapy after witnessing his oldest friend Magneto get killed by Apocalypse. And then he admits that he may not survive in the world without his friend, and he keeps replaying this moment, and the Danger Room, turns off the safety limits where Professor X almost gets crushed by the hard hologram of Apocalypse. Meanwhile, with X Factor, Polaris is dealing with is it the Purifiers or is it the Friends of Humanity? I don't remember. I don't even think they said, but she uses excessive force on them, which then leads to Valerie Cooper having to dismiss her from X Factor due to the bad publicity, and her and Havoc have their moment. And she's like, oh, so you don't stay in anything. Well, a job's a job, babe. So she goes back to the X mansion. Charles promotes Storm to head mistress. But then Cyclops and Jean all go to Genosha. Oh, and Hank goes with them as well. Polaris gets ready to train some new students after an alert goes off. So they send all the kids to the danger room for safety, but then that turns sideways. The danger room becomes sentient and knocks out Polaris and steals the X-Jet and heads to Genosha because she got beef with Charles Xavier. So she fights Cyclops, Beast, and Jean. Professor X has a chair with like lots of like gadgets and whatnot. I did not know like he rolled like that. But Polaris and Bishop show up, and Charles uses his abilities on Polaris to basically supercharge her, and then Professor X makes the fallout of Genosha a base for X-Corp to get around the government restrictions, since they're like, yeah, y'all can't operate in America no more. Meanwhile, in Greece, Apocalypse resurrects Gambit as one of his horsemen, as we knew what was going to happen after the season 1 finale. So yeah, a lot of stuff. I was actually glad to see Danger, because she is one of the few things from Joss Whedon's run of Astonishing X-Men that I don't even think we see Danger in comics anymore. Like, I'm looking it up, but apparently she was a part of the Krakoan era, and Danger started working with the CIA. So Danger ended up working with the feds. So yeah, there's that. Like 3 more episodes left of that, since they cut a episode this season. So yeah, there's that. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the Odyssey. So I was originally not going to see this movie, just because it's not that I hate Christopher Nolan. It's just like his movies aren't for me. Like I can honestly say I've liked one Christopher Nolan movie, despite the fact that he took some liberties with the source material, and that's The Prestige. Hated Inception. I hate open endings, and we're going to kind of talk about that with this movie as well. So I'm going to do this like a traditional black guy. I'm going to say who stars in this movie, but I'm not going to say who stars in this movie. So this movie stars Jason Bourne, Spider-Man, Catwoman, Batman, MJ, the lady from the old guard, or I can just say, what's her name, and Fast 8. I can't even remember at the moment. I am drawing a blank. Cypher. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, the Punisher. Yeah, so, if you've read, you really can't spoil the Odyssey because it's over 3,000 years old, but after the Battle of Troy, Odysseus and his crew are trying to get home. They end up in some shenanigans. And he's been gone for 20 years, and several noblemen, including Antonius, is, trying to, court his wife so they can take over the throne. Meanwhile, Odysseus' son, Telemachus, and his wife Penelope are, kind of holding the people off, with the hopes that he will return, as well as his half-blind servant Aramis. Telemachus, and Opie from Sons of Anarchy, since I can't call him Kratos anymore. Telemachus and Mentor, who is Telemachus' bodyguard, goes to visit Menelaus, who is the king of Sparta, aka the Punisher, to find out where his father is. Antonius, Batman, learns about this and plans to kill Telemachus upon his return so he can plunder Ithaca. Odysseus and the Greeks spend 10 years besieging Troy, and they come up with the wooden horse to sneak into Troy, and then Sinon is left behind to present the horse as a gift. Sinon is killed, but the Trojans let the horse in, and as you all know, the Battle of Troy begins with all the soldiers coming out the horse, and they let in Agamemnon, who was Menelaus' older brother, to cause havoc and get his wife Helen. To get Helen. So Agamemnon and Menelaus return home while Odysseus and his crew take the slower route. So they go and search an island for supplies, and then they come across the Cyclops Polyphemus, who starts eating the soldiers. They come up with a plan to escape after they blind him with by stabbing him in the eye. And Odysseus, being cocky, shoots her in the eye after Polyphemus, cries out to his father to make them suffer. But then, they deal with some harsh sea conditions, and then they land on Ea, where they come across the Gastrons. I can never know how to say that, but they're basically man-eating giants who killed most of them. Then they leave again, and then they come across an island with Circe, who, turns his crew into pigs. Odysseus persuades her to change them back, and then Circe warns them that to reach Ithaca, they got to cross Oceanus into Hades. Then they get to Hades, and they get the whole rundown of what happened with Agamemnon and Sinon. Basically lets Odysseus have it, like, yo, you could have told me about, that you were going to use me as a pawn or whatnot. Then Agamemnon reveals that his wife Clytemnestra murdered him because he sacrificed their daughter to Artemis just for their son to kill her. And he also tells them what will happen alongside their journey. So they land on another island. Odysseus tells them, hey, we're going to have to stay here for a while, but I was told, do not murder anything on this island. Okay? Do not kill the cattle of the sun god. But they killed the cattle anyway. Poseidon's sword breaks this ship across to shreds, kills everybody except Odysseus, and he comes across Calypso, who basically feeds him drugs, which causes him to have amnesia. But then he finds out he's on that island for 7 years, and she lets him go. She says the only way you can get back is to just give in to the gods, and so he does. And so he comes back to Ithaca under disguise, and saves his son's life, and his son realizes that he is who he is. And then shit goes sideways, and Odysseus breaks Zeus's law again, because he comes to the realization that all this is because of his hubris, because they broke Zeus's law of treating outsiders like guests, which he used the Trojan horse as a gift to start war, which is breaking the law. And if you break Zeus's law in your own country, you must go into exile. And although the suitors overstayed their welcome and were still guests because they were never told to leave, he killed all of them, and so him and Penelope end up going into exile, and Telemachus becomes king. And the only thing, I enjoyed the movie, it's a 9 out of 10 for me, but I do recall reading the Odyssey in either not elementary, in middle or high school. Reading the Odyssey in elementary school is crazy. And there's a lot more gods in the Odyssey than what Christopher Nolan decided to depict. All we saw was Zendaya as Athena, and even then, I don't even know if Zendaya was really Athena, because they go into the temple of Athena, they kill somebody who looks like Zendaya, and behead an Athena statue. But is Athena presenting as the girl who was killed in Troy, or is that just Odysseus' guilt projecting him into her? Projecting her into his psyche or whatever. But I don't know. Like I said, I enjoyed the movie. I like the fact that we're finding out all these things, like Samantha Horton, who plays Circe. They did not CG her turning the men into pigs. That was all animatronics, mirror tricks, and clay. The Cyclops was played by Bill Irwin, who was the mayor of Whoville in The Grinch, and he was also the robot in Interstellar. And the fact that, you know, they figured out a way to shoot on the IMAX camera slightly different, because if you know anything about IMAX cameras, you can only usually get about 3 or 4 minutes at a time just because they overheat and they're loud as hell. So they made a housing to kind of mute the sound, but the housing was so big you really couldn't get a line of sight directly to somebody. So they used mirrors to like pivot, like, so like, let's just say like, you know, nobody's in here with me, but let's say somebody's right here in front of me, but the camera's right here. So they would put a mirror to the side of that side for me to see, and put a mirror over here so they could see me. Like the line of eyesight is still straight, even though it's angled due to the mirrors. So yeah, I've never had a problem with Christopher Nolan as a director. It's just like, I just don't like some of the things he does in his movies. Like, why is Inception an open ending? Okay, I didn't see Tenet, but I didn't hear good things about it. And you know how I feel about him, you know, in the Dark Knight trilogy or whatever. But yeah, guys, that's it. I got no more talking to do. I'm gonna go hang out with 3 Shades, and I will see y'all next week when I will be. I don't know yet. It's just gonna be probably X-Men '97 and My Adventures with Superman, because Spider-Man is in 2 weeks. And honestly, after Batman Cape Crusader or whatever TV shows are done, I think I'm gonna take a break in August. I'm not sure yet, but I need my weekends back to myself. All right, I'll see y'all later. Peace.